In a part of the world that was once called Paradise on Earth, people are dealing with a strange curse. Their men have been disappearing without a trace. This is Kashmir, a state on the border between India and Pakistan. It's the home of the world's highest mountains, the Himalayas, and also home to one of the world's most long-standing conflicts. Caught in the face-off between two warring nations are the women of this land, who spend their lives waiting as the conflict has made their men disappear. Some have waited for 20 years. This is their story. It's in the air everywhere, but you won't see it. You can hear gunshots, but you don't see the bodies. This is the land where once upon a time, people vanished with no trace.
मैं फिर एक दिन शाम को सोई, सुबह उठी नींद से, ये रोने लगी। इसने कितना रोया, मैंने बोला क्या बात है, इसने रोया। बोल रही मेरा पापा कहाँ है, आप पहले मेरे पापा को लाओ, फिर मैं खाना खाऊंगी, फिर मैं चाय पीऊंगी। ऐसे मैं खाना भी नहीं खाऊंगी, मैं चाय भी नहीं पीऊंगी। मैंने बोला वो तो काम पे गया है, मैं कहाँ से लाऊं, वो काम कर रहे हैं, क्या करूं क्या नहीं करूं। और इसने कितना रोया, कितना रोया।
बोलता है, जब थोड़ा बोलता पापा कहाँ है, मैंने उसको बोलता वो झुमू गई, वो उधर गई, इधर ऐसे ऐसे कहा कि पत सारी दिखाती है ना उसको तस्वीर।
It's a photo opportunity for some, but brutal reality for these women who sit in protest on the 10th of every month after their husbands have gone missing.
तरसता अपने बच्चों के लिए, और 24 साल होएगा लगेगा तो मैं नहीं था।
This is Kashmir, known all over the world as Paradise on Earth. It's now also the land of the disappeared. The lines on the face of these women tell the story of a paradise that's been lost to 6 decades of conflict between India and Pakistan. A conflict that scars every aspect of life in Kashmir, forcing the lines between faith and Islam and the complicated politics of the land to be blurred. Here, survival depends on politics. In order to exist, these women have to take sides. And no matter what their politics and faith, their husbands can still go missing. Leaving these women with nothing to hold on to, except to wait and to protest. And look for traces of their husbands amid wild grass and shrubs. Unmarked graves that now litter the landscape. We are in Uri, on the India-Pakistan border. What looks like scattered stones is actually a series of graves. With no tangible clues to the story of Kashmir's half-widows and why their men are missing, this is a good place to start. With veteran journalist from Kashmir, Zafar Iqbal, who met the man who dug these graves.
The grave digger who has in fact dug all those graves a couple of years ago, he told me that all of them bore the marks of bullet wounds or they were subject to other forms of torture and violence, and all of them are buried here. There should be some sort of a identification or some sort of a investigation done in that, and government should do something to find them. Perhaps these could be the same people who were picked up and later killed and then buried in these graveyards.
The graves are proof, perhaps, that something is terribly wrong with the way Kashmir's men have disappeared. But it actually raises more questions than it answers. These women say the Indian state picked up many innocent men in order to get militants that were fighting the state. But others say the state cannot have made so many thousands of mistakes, that there are actual terrorists in the list of Kashmir's disappeared people. What the truth is, it's hard to tell. In this land of perpetual conflict, there are so many masks, and that's perhaps the only protection people have when everything is uncertain. So to unveil the true story of half-widows, it's important to track the history of pain, the way people remember it, as the constant in their day, in every conversation over bread and tea.
If we go into the history of this whole issue, it starts right in 1947, at the time of independence of India and partition and creation of Pakistan.
After the British colonizers left, India was split into two, India and Pakistan. Kashmir was sandwiched in the middle. 1947 witnessed a bloodbath in India. Pakistan was created from the idea that Muslims would not be treated as equals in a land where the majority of the people are Hindus. India was formed on the opposite set of ideas, that every religion is welcome and religion will not be a divisive factor. Between these two opposing ideas stood Kashmir. The only state in India with a Muslim majority population. Four wars were fought between Pakistan and India, and 3 of those were over Kashmir. The state is now disputed territory. Each generation since then has grown up knowing that their land is split in two. In the 1990s, sections of dissatisfied Kashmiris decided that they wanted to change the status quo. They called India an occupying force and decided to rise up in arms against it. Soon the countryside and streets of Kashmir became the theatre for pitched battles. Gunfights between militants and the Indian armed forces. And people started to go missing. Half-widows became a familiar word and a symbol of the conflict.
वो सुबह निकला काम पे बोल रहा था मैं काम पे जा रहा हूँ मैंने बोला दिन को जाएगा, शाम को वापस लौट के आएगा। फिर सुबह निकला काम पे तो फिर वापस नहीं आया।
It isn't the guns or bodies where the war leaves its mark. It's the horror of everyday life. When you've been brought up to believe that your life revolves around your man, how do you survive once he is gone?
उनको पूछो ये 10,000 लोग मिसिंग है कहाँ रखा, हम नहीं बैठेंगे चैन से।
From a distance, the anger is visible in Kashmir's half-widows. But what that picture does not show is the nightmare and fear that comes with the absolute breakdown of everything they know. At the site of their monthly protest, we meet Label Nisa, a lawyer, a Kashmiri, a human rights activist, and a woman who has documented the story of half-widows as a way of understanding what has happened to the land she grew up in. The 1990s, she says, was all about growing up in the shadow of the gun.
We lived in a place where you were constantly under the threat of armed forces. At the age of 13, I would know I would know what Kalashnikov and AK-47 mean. But if anybody would come to me and say that, what is the synonym for picnic? I don't think I would have been able to say that. Perhaps for that reason, I never went to picnic with my school.
Kashmir wasn't always like this. In the years leading up to the armed resistance, it was a place where young couples flocked to just after they were married for their honeymoon. Summers in Kashmir meant rides on the Dal Lake for tourists to check into houseboats. In the 1960s and 70s, everyone, from the Beatles to the Rockefellers, was here. Hindi movies had Kashmir at their center. And growing up with the tallest mountain range, the Himalayas, as your skyscape, was always special. Until it became the route for militants to hop across the Indian border to train in camps and return to fight against the Indian state. Suddenly, every Kashmiri was a suspect.
The conflict, the armed struggle, the presence of heavy deployment of army, it has always hampered you, and it has hampered you here. It's hampered your thought process. You're not able to think. As a man, they could shoot you, and as a woman, they could expose your vulnerability. And that was when I just was stuck at one thing, that pain in life can be dealt with, but it depends what kind of pain it is. If you're talking about act of God, you never complain about it. You don't fight with God. You accept it. Okay, this was done by Almighty. For example, some near ones die, or you lose your limb or something like that. You don't get furious about it. You don't fight with God. You say, it was a part of my destiny. But other pains are inflicted pains. And when I understood what has been happening in Kashmir, or the repercussion it is leaving on the lives, that was what made me furious, that it is inflicted pain. And then I remember I got a project called WAVE. There was a first incident when I introduced the word half widow, and somebody told me that, hey, correct your grammar, lady, there's nothing called half widow. And it was not what got me angry, it was not what got me sad, but it was something that made me disappointed. Disappointed in the pretext that, hey, people in my land are suffering, and you call it a grammatical mistake.
It's impossible to capture the pain that comes with not knowing where your man is. until you look at what that absence does to the lives of these women. In the emptiness that the half-widow Nasima's laughter hides.
मैं तो बहुत सोच रही थी।
क्या सोच रही थी?
मैं बहुत सोच रही थी मेरी शादी हो जाएगी, फिर मुझे बच्ची हो जाएगी, फिर मुझे घर वाला हो जाएगा, फिर मुझे अपना घर बनाना पड़ेगा।
आपको याद है शादी पे आपने क्या क्या पहना था और किसने क्या बोला कि आप कैसे लग रही हो?
ये कपड़े वपड़े पहने थे और अच्छा लग रहा था। और
क्या पहना था?
फिराक सलवार।
हाँ?
फिराक सलवार।
आपके शौहर कब गायब हो गए?
2002 में।
क्या हुआ आपको याद है?
वो सुबह निकला, काम पे बोल रहा था मैं काम पे जा रहा हूँ। मैंने बोला दिन को जाएगा, शाम को वापस लौट के आएगा। फिर सुबह निकला काम पे, तो फिर वापस नहीं आया। मैंने सोचा शायद उसको दूर किसी जगह काम मिल गया, इसीलिए वो नहीं आया। मैं 2-3 दिन वेट कर रही, मैंने बोला आ जाएगा, कल आएगा, परसों आएगा, तो कुछ पता ही नहीं चला। फिर बहुत कोशिश की ढूंढने के लिए। बोल रहे थे उधमपुर जेल में बंद है, वहाँ पे भी गए, न्यूज़ में सुना था। मैं और जो मेरी सासू माँ और ये छोटी बच्ची वहाँ पे भी गए, वहाँ पे भी ढूंढा, वहाँ पे भी नहीं मिला। फिर बोल रहे थे कोट बलवा जेल में है, वहाँ पे भी गए, वहाँ पे भी ढूंढा, बहुत कोशिश की ढूंढने की, लेकिन मिला नहीं। उन दिनों में बहुत हालत ख़राब थी। सबको लग रहा था यहाँ से कोई तो कोई गायब हो जाए। बहुत हालात उन दिनों में बहुत हालत ख़राब थी।
And so, just 1 year into her marriage, Nasima found herself poor, virtually destitute, with a young daughter to care for. Both mother and daughter's health started to fail. Her daughter Shazia frequently has fainting spells and blackouts in class. Nasima didn't have the money to get this treated. And then she met Parveena Ahangar, a woman who has been fighting for the rights of missing persons for 24 years, after her own son went missing in 1991.
4 साल 5 साल मैंने सीजीएम कोर्ट में केस लड़ा। फिर बाद में 5 साल में थक गई अकेली जाकर तो फिर मैंने बोला छोड़ो, केस उधर ही है, केस रहेगा उधर ही, पुलिस के पास भी है, कोर्ट के पास है। तो फिर मैंने धरना शुरू किया। 94 मैंने एसोसिएशन बनाई। फिर कभी जाता किसी एमएलए के पास, किसी मिनिस्टर के पास, उधर धक्के के सिवा कुछ नहीं मिला। अगर नहीं करेगा तो गवर्नमेंट बोलेगा ये बैठ गया, ये थक गया।
This park in Kashmir's capital, Srinagar, is the one hook in these women's lives. In 24 years, it hasn't changed anything on the ground, but it allows these women and men to share their grief. It also gives many half-widows like Nasima a desperately needed lifeline.
नसीमा को 5-6 साल हो गए मेरे साथ। उस बेचारी सास है, वो मर गई पिछले साल अक्टूबर में। उस बेचारी को कोई नहीं, ना माँ बाप है ना कोई है। भाई एक वो भी पूछता नहीं, बहन है तो 2 बहनें तो वो भी उसको पूछता नहीं है। हाँ, सास मर गई है, देवर हैंडीकैप है, उसी के साथ रहती। फिर ये बहुत बीमार रहती, लड़की भी बीमार रहती, रोज़ बीमार रहती। तो फिर मैंने वो ऑफिस में पकड़ लिया। मैंने बोला तो ऑफिस में बैठो दिन भर, उधर सबिया साइमा जूर साहब हैं, उनके साथ बातें शातें कर रही हैं, आपको रिलीफ मिलेगा थोड़ा सा। तो कहीं मत जाओ, तो बैठो ऑफिस में।
We live in a conservative setup. We live in a setup where a girl throughout her life is being taught, ससुराल जाना है, you have to be a good wife, you have to be a good mother, you have to be a submissive daughter-in-law. She's never taught that you have to earn for a family. Whether she is educated or she is illiterate, she's never taught that. So what happens is that when you realize that, oh, when I'm getting married, it gives you a kind of reflection in your mind that, oh, if I'm getting married to a doctor, I'm financially stable. If I'm getting married to a businessman, money is not an issue. So you actually relate your financial status with the person you're getting married to, which is very obvious in any part of the world to happen. Same happens with Kashmiri girls also. Now when these girls, when they lose the bread earner and they suddenly are exposed in a point where now you have to earn for yourself, it's not an easy thought. It's not something that you can deal with overnight. It cripples you because you don't know how to do it. You've never been taught to do it. What would you do? Where would you go and work? How would you manage it? You have children at home. You don't have that kind of life set up. So that was one thing that I realized for them, that must be the most fearful thing for them.
खाने के लिए जो मेरा ड्राइवर जी है ना, वो जाता है, वो जो रेडीमेड कपड़े होते हैं ना, वो बेच रहे हैं. किसी दिन बनता है, किसी दिन नहीं बनता है, उसी पे थोड़ा बहुत गुजारा करते हैं. फिर बीच में रह गए छोटी की पढ़ाई, जो वो करती है जीजी परमीना जी करते हैं, और दवाई वाई लानी होती है तब वहाँ जाते हैं, तब वही देते हैं दवाई वाई. इससे पहले उन सालों में हमारे को खाना नहीं बनता था. एक दिन खाना बनता था, 2-3 दिन भूखे रहते थे. ये तो बोल रही थी, मम्मा हमारे को खाने के लिए क्यों नहीं बनता है, ये होता है वो होता है, बहुत कुछ बोल रही थी. लेकिन मैं तो छोटी बच्ची थी, इसको मैं इतना नहीं बता सकती थी. मैंने बोला चलो बड़े हैं, बड़े अगर टेंशन लेंगे उसको कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी. छोटा बच्चा अगर टेंशन लेगा वो तो ख़त्म हो जाएगा. एक दिन देखा था पति, मैंने सपने में वो आया है. मैं उसको बोल रही हूँ आप कहाँ थे? वो बोलने लगा मैं काम पे गया था, मुझे अभी और वापस जाना है, ये करना है वो करना है वो.
सब ढोट झगड़ा किया, वो किया, बोलता शादी कर. मैं नहीं करेगी शादी, मेरा क्या फ़ायदा है दूसरा शादी. एक शादी नहीं है तो दूसरा शादी करेगी.
If waiting for a husband who never comes back isn't the answer, then is moving on to another marriage, another man, a reality that works?
Hello.
There's a strange paradox that describes the lives of Kashmir's half-widows. Some suffer the consequences of waiting for men who never return. Others, like Shamima, suffer when they move on. What could be a day in the life of any normal family is for Shamima a daily reminder of how much her world has come apart. Her 6-year-old son and 8-year-old daughter she is now sending to school are from her second marriage, which was forced upon her after her first husband, Shabir Ahmed, a fruit seller, disappeared into the conflict in the year 2002. She believes he was taken by Indian security forces.
मत खड़ा भैया, खड़ा हो। क्या सोचा था, मेरा माँ बाप ने शादी, मेरा माँ है ना बीमार, उसको भी हार्ट को बीमारी है, 7 बहनें हमारा घर पे, एक भाई, उसको ये हुआ। तो पता छोटा छोटा तो जब मैं शादी हुआ, पता क्या है शादी, मेरा पता नहीं शादी कैसे क्या हुआ क्या ना हुआ, पता नहीं है। फिर आर्मी वाला ने आया तो उठा कर ले गई 2000 में, 7 दिन का था बिस्मा, वो उसको गोद में था, बेटा तो 1 साल की है। आर्मी वाला ने अचानक से आ रही है, वो काम आई, खाना अभी नहीं, खाना मांगता है, शाम को 8 बजे आर्मी आया तो उठा कर ले गई, बोलता थोड़ा बात करना है, बात करने से आज 13-14 साल पड़ गई और कुछ अता पता नहीं है।
मैंने चलो रात के फिल्म
FIR काटा ना पुलिस में, हाँ। वही लेकर जाती है कोर्ट में, केस बनाया आर्मी वाल के लिए, समझे। फिर कुछ नहीं मिला। मेरा पहली सास था ना, वो मेरा मौसी है, तो फिर बोलता तो इधर ही रहे, तो शादी कर। तब से कितना साल उसको हो गया, 5 साल। मैं नहीं माना, मैं परवीना जी को पास गई, मैं बोले मैं शादी नहीं कर सकता, मुझे नहीं शादी चाहिए। सब ढूंढ झगड़ा किया, वो किया, बोलता शादी कर, मैं नहीं करेगी शादी, मेरा क्या फ़ायदा है दूसरा शादी, एक शादी नहीं है तो दूसरा शादी करेगी। फिर परवीना जी को पास गई, फिर मेरा घर पे कोई नहीं है, मैं क्या करूँगी, बच्चा दो भी। मैंने उसको उस बूढ़ा को बोला, मैंने बोला तू मेरा बच्चा दो दे, मैं भीख मांग के खाएगी, बच्चा भी नहीं छोड़ा। फिर क्या करूँगी मैं, फिर शादी दिया उसको साथ, मेरा देवर को साथ। पता 1 साल हुआ, वो 1 साल तक ठीक है, दूसरा साल पड़ गई, वो बेटी हुआ, पता नहीं उसको क्या दारू पीता है, नशा कितना खाता है, जो कमाता वो उसको नशा करता है।
Now Shamima has 4 children to feed with no help from her father-in-law.
नीचे का मकान है ना, वो मैंने बनाया, उसको मजदूरी करके मैंने दसिल को साथ, इसको साथ ईंट वेंट देती है, सब कुछ बनाकर मैंने, बोलता है ये नहीं है तुम्हारा, यहाँ से बोलता तो ये नहीं है तुम्हारा। मैं जब ये खिड़की विड़की बनाया, मैं खुद ये पावर फिटिंग लगाया, लाल का फिटिंग लगाया यहाँ से अपने पैसे से। बोलता तू खुद कमाओ, खुद बना, मैं कहाँ से कमाएगी, मैं कहाँ से लाऊंगी। मेरा बेटा अभी तो छोटा है, कहाँ से कमाएगी, मेरा बेटा तो मैं खिलाएगी। मेरा 3 बच्चा है। उसको फर्ज नहीं मिलता है उनको, मैं कपड़ा लाऊंगी उनको लिए, ये उनको दादा नहीं है, तो उसको बेटा खराब है तो मैं क्या करूंगी, मैंने किया उनको। खुद में मजदूरी करके उनको खिलाता। बेटियों के लिए मैं सोचता है जो जब तो इन पढ़ाई वढ़ाई करेगी, अच्छा रहेगी, ठीक कुछ बनेगी, बाद में अच्छा घर देख कर शादी करेगी।
मेरे को चाहिए स्कूल
बिस्मा को ज़्यादा शौक है पढ़ने के लिए, ज़्यादा रात दिन पर किताब लिखता है।
मुझे डॉक्टर बनना है।
शादी करनी है कभी?
नहीं, जब मम्मा बोलेगी, जब मैं बहुत बड़ी हो जाऊंगी, कुछ बनूंगी, मम्मी को अपने हाथों से खिलाऊंगी। जैसे आज खुद मेरा पापा भी दूसरा ये दारू वारू पीता है, इसको मारता है, मुझसे बर्दाश्त ही नहीं होता। मैं बोलती हूँ मैं कब, या मैं खुदा से खुद को बोलती हूँ मैं क्या कर सकती हूँ जैसे मेरी माँ जिससे खुश रहे।
हम तो मानते हैं रबे भाई, जब घर वाला होता था वो खुद काम करता।
Are all half-widow stories about men who the Indian state is accused of killing?
हमें आज़ादी चाहिए, इस वजह पे ये मिलिटेंसी फैली।
Or is there a twist to the tale that we haven't discovered yet? Up close, the story of half-widows is heart-rending but flat. If these women have not all lost their husbands to arbitrary cruelty of the Indian security establishment, then some of their men that have gone missing must also be militants. It's one of the many layers to the story of half-widows that their victimhood can mask.
There are layers within layers. There's nothing in Kashmir what it seems. It's true. Different people have different versions. So what can be done about it? I think this is true for every conflict area. It can't be true about Kashmir only. Then there should be some way out. Because for us, for some people, for government, it's just a matter of figures, as I was saying. But for people who are involved in this conflict, who have been killed, or for those whose family members are missing, whose loved ones, for them it's much more than just figures. They want to know the truth.
So while the government, who is seen by many in Kashmir as responsible for a large number of disappearances, has a lower number for those missing, at about 1,500 people, the State Human Rights Commission says they think there could be a little more than 2,000. And groups like Parveen Ahangar's say it's as many as 10,000. But the truth lies much beyond a fix on the numbers. For that, a view from a rural area that's on the India-Pakistan border is essential. In the district of Kupwara in Kashmir, there is a clutch of villages where every second man is missing or dead. There are more than 300 half-widows, but unlike the women in the capital city Srinagar, here the women say quite plainly their husbands were militants. They crossed over into Pakistan to train to fight against the Indian state.
शोर को कौन लेके गया? बस वो पहले खुद भी गया था, चले गया बेचारा, उसके बाद आया, फिर गाड़ी में बैठ गया था। तो
खुद गया था वो पाकिस्तान?
हाँ, गया था पाकिस्तान। बस चले गया उधर। उस टाइम में जैसा जंग चलता था, आर्मी का था, मिलिटेंटों का जंग चलता था। 5 बंदे थे ना हमारे इलाके के, 5 के 5 वो वहाँ बॉर्डर पे शहीद हो गए। वो आर्मी ने मार डाले 5।
आपके शोहर को आर्मी ने मार डाला या मिलिटेंट ने?
आर्मी ने।
अभी बोला था आपने मिलिटेंट ने मारा था, है ना?
वो कोई पता नहीं आर्मी थी या मिलिटेंट था, वो कोई पता नहीं था। उस टाइम नसते थे ऐसे, एक इलाके से दूसरे में जाते थे।
जब जुल्म आया ना पीछे से, कोई आए घर में अंदर मार डाले तो वो जुल्म नहीं। फिर जब तारीख उठ गई ना, फिर जोर से निकालते थे घर में तो ले जाते थे पाकिस्तान। वहाँ से आते थे फिर मारते थे।
कौन लेके जाते थे पाकिस्तान?
ये मिल्टन।
आपके भी शौहर को लेके गए?
हाँ, जबरदस्ती एक ही था ना, वो माँ को जबरदस्ती लिया उसको।
मेरे फादर की डेथ हुई।
कैसे?
वो भी ऐसे मिलिटेंट था पहले, फिर 1993 में उसकी डेथ हुई। हर कोई ऐसे लड़ता था, आज़ादी ढूंढते थे।
And so it is in this village on the Pakistan border that the men who went missing were mostly militants. Many of the women they left behind aren't part of any association for disappeared people. In fact, some say they haven't seen the bodies of their men, but they are certain their husbands are dead.
हम तो पहाड़ी लोग हैं, हम तो खुद अपने हाथों से मेहनत मजदूरी करके खाते हैं। हम तो मानते हैं रबे भाई, जब घर वाला होता था वो खुद काम करता, जब वो आया नहीं या तो पैसे देकर दूसरा बंदा लाना पड़ता है। दूसरा बंदा भी नहीं, पैसे भी नहीं हमारे पास, हमको खुद मेहनत करनी पड़ती। हम तो खुद मानते हैं रबे भाई। वो श्रीनगर की वो क्या करती हैं, उनको वो खेती बाड़ी मत करती हैं, बैठी हैं एक जगह पर बैठी हैं। कभी आएगा आएगा वो नहीं सोचती हूँ, बस मुझे ये प्रूफ है और वो मारेगी। जब रिश्तेदारों ने खुद भी लाश देखी, उसका तो आ ही गया है ना प्रूफ।
But it isn't as open and shut as all that. Women like Noor Bano have made a choice to hold on to whatever information they have as a way of ending a chapter in their lives.
No tension.
At a bus stop in her village, however, a debate is in progress. Things aren't quite as settled as Noor Bano would have us believe.
उस समय का क्या माहौल था यहाँ, मतलब मिलिटेंट सी थी, मिलिटेंट आते थे, खुले खाना खाते थे, चले जाते थे। आर्मी आती थी, सुबह 6 बजे दरवाज़ा खटखटाती थी, वो बोलती थी, वो बाहर से बोलते थे साला अभी अंदर सोया है, बाहर क्रैक डाउन है, निकल जाओ। बच्चे को अलग लेते थे, बीवी को अलग लेते थे, बाप को अलग लेते थे। 6 बजे से सुबह के 6 बजे शाम 6 बजे छोड़ते थे। यहाँ इस वक्त 40% जो बेकार हैं जवान, आर्मी की इंट्रैगेशन से।
अब जो नौजवान थे वो बोलते थे जब इस मुसीबत में हम फंसे हैं, इससे बेहतर हमें आज़ादी चाहिए, हम अब लड़ेंगे और हमें आज़ादी चाहिए, हमें आज़ादी चाहिए। इस वजह पे ये मिलिटेंसी फैली।
मैडम मसला ये है कि यहाँ पर बेरोज़गारी ज़्यादा है, यहाँ पर कोई कारखाना नहीं है, प्राइवेट सेक्टर नहीं है, बेरोज़गारी है। तो इसी वजह से एक आवाज़ चली, एक लहर चली।
असल काज यह है कि हम अपने राइट्स चाहते हैं। यहाँ हम लड़ाई पिछले साल से लड़ रहे हैं, जो 62 साल से इस वक्त जो यहाँ स्ट्रगल चल रही है कश्मीर में, उसका एक काज है। काज यही है सिर्फ कि हम अपने एक स्टेट होना चाहे, इस्लामिक स्टेट यहाँ पर कायम होना चाहे, ताकि हर एक शख्स चाहे वो गरीब हो अमीर हो उसको अपना राइट्स मिल जाए।
अगर जैसी सख्ती चली तो इस तरह तो ये चलता रहेगा, ये तो चलता रहेगा। लड़ना है, जब सख्ती पे आवाम देखेगी वो निकलेगी लड़ने को, वो कुछ भी करेगी।
As the lines between perpetrators and victims crisscross in Kashmir, they all have the same effect. Thousands of women on both sides of the firing squads, with their men having disappeared.
मैं हक के लिए लड़ रहा है, मैं किसी के लिए हक, हमारा हक है, क्यों किया हमारे साथ?
If women on both sides of the conflict suffer equally, then what keeps them going? And why do they protest? The first time Kashmir's men disappeared was more than 20 years ago. Many of these women haven't seen their husbands for that long. So why do they fight and gather together on the 10th of each month?
It's a human tendency. It's a human nature. Human nature will not accept till it sees something. It's just basic human nature.
The crippling effect of violence in a conflict zone like Kashmir, and despite that the survival and immense faith of these women, is something Zafar understands, not just as a journalist. His answers to how half-widows keep the faith come from within. His own life story bears scars as grisly and life-altering as theirs. On May 29, 2002, militants arrived at the office of the newspaper he worked for. In what turned out to be a case of mistaken identity, they riddled him with bullets until he had a hole in the back of his skull. His assassins escaped and have never been found. A profusely bleeding Zafar was being speedily taken to a hospital as he was swinging precariously between life and death. That's when he encountered faith in a renewed, powerful burst. On his way in and out of consciousness, he recited the Kalma. There is no God but Allah, and the Prophet is his messenger. He survived and went back to reporting on the front line.
Let me put it like this. If you have a bullet on the head and you still survive, that means that something happened which helped you to survive. Some divine force, some power saved you. That's a great inspiration. That's a great strength that you draw from, and that gives you a lot of hope.
मैं हक के लिए लड़ रहा है, मैं किसी के लिए हक, हमारा हक है, क्यों किया हमारे साथ? अगर बोलें मेरे बेटे ने, किसी ने कोई गुनाह किया, वो सज़ा दे दो। नहीं, बार बार डिमांड करें इंडिपेंडेंट कमीशन बिठा। मैं यूरोप भी गया, हर जगह में पहुंच गई, मगर ये सुनता इस कान से छोड़ता। उधर देर उधर अंधेर नहीं, एक न एक दिन इंसाफ मिलेगा, हमारे बच्चे मिलेगा एक न एक दिन। हमारी उम्मीद है एक न एक दिन लड़ाई जारी है।
On this question of justice, in 2011, the half-widows finally found a new ally in the State Human Rights Commission. They submitted a report to the government that echoed what the half-widows had been saying all along. Their study of unmarked graves confirmed that there are 2,305 missing persons in Kashmir. The state government replied by saying they are doing their bit to track them. They have filed missing persons complaints in most cases. But when it comes down to exhuming the bodies in unmarked graves and matching the DNA, the state government said a firm no. They claim the math makes it an impossible task to carry out. To find who is buried in Kashmir's unmarked graves, the DNA of every individual in the state would need to be collected. Instead, the government threw the question back at the half-widows. Tell us in which grave you think your husband may be, and we will carry out the necessary DNA tests. And so, the conversation in Kashmir goes back into the void, from which no answers can emerge.
We can take the issue of half widows as a metaphor. They are waiting, and you can say the whole state people are also waiting for a closure to this issue, because it's been there for decades altogether. Not just me, but everybody would say, "Tu chuna bana yad kaise masla kes kahan solution aa."
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल ये मतलब मेन एक्चुअली कश्मीर मतलब ये डिस्प्यूट मसला है डिस्प्यूट मतलब हिंदुस्तान वजीर आज़म नेहरू जो था उसने बोला था कि ये भाई लोग मतलब ये अक़वाम मुत्तहिदा में है ये मसला
So everybody is waiting for a solution to this issue. You know, waiting, when you wait, it leads to hopelessness. People want that this wait should end.
Maybe that's why the half-widows gather together on the 10th of every month to talk, to share their loss, to protest, and to let the world see these stories of loss, longing, and survival.